There is no specific requirement in the National Electrical Code, or NEC, that mandates a particular clearance distance between an equipment rack and a wall or any nearby surface. However, it's a good practice to allow sufficient clearance to ensure the safe installation, proper functioning, and convenient maintenance of the equipment housed within the rack. The amount of clearance you'll need can depend on several factors, including the type of equipment in the rack, the design of the rack itself, and the amount of available space in the room. One of the primary reasons for ensuring adequate clearance is to facilitate proper air circulation around the equipment. Electronic devices, such as audio-video data devices, can generate a significant amount of heat during operation. If this heat isn't properly dissipated, it can lead to overheating and potential damage to the equipment. By providing sufficient airflow around the rack, you help to dissipate the heat and maintain a safe operating temperature for the devices. Another key reason for providing clearance is to allow for easy access to the equipment for maintenance, troubleshooting, and repairs. It's important to be able to easily reach the components in the rack for routine maintenance tasks, to diagnose and fix any problems that may arise, and to replace faulty parts. Adequate clearance makes it easier to work on the equipment and reduces the risk of accidents during maintenance or repair procedures. The specific amount of clearance needed will vary depending on the equipment and rack you are using. It's important to refer to the manufacturer's instructions for the specific equipment and rack to determine the recommended clearance requirements. These instructions will typically provide guidance on the minimum clearances needed for both airflow and accessibility. While the NEC doesn't provide a specific clearance requirement for equipment racks, it's always best to err on the side of caution and provide as much clearance as possible. This will help to ensure the safe and reliable operation of the equipment in the rack and will make it easier to perform maintenance and repairs when needed. Firstly, consider the type of equipment being installed within the rack. Some equipment, such as power amplifiers or servers, may generate more heat than others and may require greater clearance for proper ventilation. Secondly, take into account the rack design. Some racks may have built-in ventilation features, such as fans or perforated panels, which can help to improve airflow. If the rack has these features, you may be able to reduce the clearance requirements. Thirdly, think about the available space. If you have limited space, you may need to compromise on the clearance requirements. However, it's important to ensure that you still provide enough clearance to allow for safe and reliable operation of the equipment. Fourthly, consider any local codes or regulations that may apply. Some jurisdictions may have specific requirements for equipment rack clearances, so it's important to check with the local authorities to ensure that you're in compliance. Fifthly, think about potential future additions or changes to the equipment in the rack. If you anticipate adding more equipment in the future, it's best to provide extra clearance to accommodate the new equipment. Sixthly, consider the ease of access to the back of the rack for cable management and maintenance. Enough space behind the rack is beneficial. Seventhly, think about the potential for dust accumulation. Dust can insulate the equipment and reduce its ability to dissipate heat. Make sure the area around the rack is kept clean. Eighthly, if you are using a closed rack, ensure there is adequate ventilation to prevent overheating. Ninthly, think about the accessibility for people of different sizes and abilities to work on the equipment. And tenthly, make sure the clearance is adequate to comply with any insurance requirements that may be in place. In summary, while the NEC doesn't specifically mandate a clearance distance between an equipment rack and a wall, it is essential to provide enough clearance for safety, proper operation, and maintenance. Consider factors such as the type of equipment, rack design, space availability, local codes, future additions, ease of access, dust accumulation, ventilation, accessibility, and insurance requirements when determining the appropriate clearance for your equipment rack.